How was Christmas? Fantastic. Come to think of it. How was yours?
Chaotic.
Chaotic? How come?
We had like 10 to 12 people at the house.
Oh, okay.
Hosting and whatnot.
We were lucky. We got invited to a dinner and a Christmas Eve party. So we didn't have anybody in from out of town, so that was good. We had a 26th kind of dinner at our house. Good. Cole's in a tournament. We're back up and running. Here we are.
Even though probably not the second period you wanted last night, how you feel the group responded, especially the fact that they were able to respond as quickly as they did.
Well, I feel good about it. We're finding ways to win. Different people contributing. The second period started fine, right? Stoney scored, and I thought our first 6 minutes were okay, and then, they got that goal, and it really gave them life, and they kept pushing, and they were on top of us for a good stretch there. And we didn't deal with that very well. We couldn't break out clean and then get through the neutral zone clean. So those second period, I said of those, you get on the wrong side of the line changes and the possession. But we got through it. We're only a goal down. And found a way. Like, you go on the power play opening the third and you have a lead a minute later and you're killing, right? Like that was kind of a weird way of getting the lead. It's not going to happen every night, but again, finding ways, right? We won it with our penalty kill, scoring goals and killing penalties. So they should feel good about themselves, the guys on that. It's gotten progressively better here the last month, and hopefully becomes a strength of our team.
You talked about playing a little bit more aggressive on the kill over the last little bit. Is that one of the main reasons why it's been so good over the last couple of years?
I think Johnny and I sat down. We went through our end zone. What can be a little more effective for us? They were in assisting some of the guys that was more aggressive than here, and we're trying to pair it up with our D zone, right? Areas of responsibility, so match the two, marry the two together. And so, we added a few wrinkles, and then it became, well, how about up ice? Why don't we use our skating ability? Especially Jack, Carly, they're the first over the boards, We got some D that are mobile and long. So we started to have more up ice pressure and getting a few looks, and then Pierce gets one the other day because of that. And so we've sort of built that in. Let's get into an attack mentality a little bit, and that's what happened on both goals. I mean, one started as a 4-on-4, I get it, but we had good possession, so we can attack, get up ice, and if we ice it, great. We're in our positions, good gaps. If we go on offense, great. Make sure we're covering for one another and happen to score. So I think the aggressiveness is controlled aggression, appropriate pressure, whatever words you want to use, and it's worked out well for us.
What do you see in the power play right now?
We're a little stagnant. We're a little predictable. There's certain plays we want to run, Gary, and not get away from, but by the same token, we got to spread teams out a little more before those become open. And I don't think we're rotating the puck well enough to get teams off their spots. And by that, I mean using the weak side, Olsen side, Theo hitting the net from the middle if they're overplaying Jack and Stoney on that side of the ice, and then recovering pucks to break them down. So the puck's got to arrive at the net a little more from both sides. We know what side we're going to run it off of. We've talked about that. It's been successful, but we do have to get them moving more for those plays to open up. So it's a little bit of the attack mentality, puck recovery, then break them down with that order, not hang on to it and try to make the play when they're in good position. You got to get them out of position. That's how goals are usually scored. Killers get tired. They're out of position. Now the lanes open up.
I know you hate to lose, and would prefer to be able to find teaching moments and still get the 2 points. Is that last night fall into that?
Yeah, there was. We had a meeting today on rush coverage. One thing San Jose does well, at least through the analytics, they create offense off the rush. I think their D like to join. So there was times last night they had some good looks. There was times that we countered. The Pav goal is a great example of that. We killed a rush, defended the blue line well. Everyone had their assignments. It ends up being Nick Hague in the middle of the ice, breaks up the play. We're gone the other way. We score. There was another goal, Jack's when he hit the post. Naber's up in the neutral zone. We're reloading well. Quick strike back the other way. So, and then they, as I said, had a couple of good looks too. Celebrini's good at that off the rush. You see it now I'd seen him earlier in the year, but now you see him live, and he's a competitive hockey player too for a young guy and strong on pucks. So he's going to be a good player for him. So I can see where their rush offense comes from. Usually if a guy in the middle of the ice is driving it. So we learned a little last night on our defending well and how we can get better. Like I said, some good teaching positive moments on the PK, some ones in the PP where we're going to have to look at to be more efficient. So I would rather win and do that review all day long. I mean, it's not going to happen, but that's much better.
The geniuses in the broadcaster Uber were discussing.
How many are there? We're in that Uber. How many geniuses exactly? 4 of them? Okay. All right.
We were discussing Hill or Samsonov for last night. Coming off a break, sometimes it can be a tough game, so you keep your starter out of it. Why'd you go with Hill?
We had 3 days off. He's played more. I looked at it more. He played the last game, so he's a little fresher with no practice time at all. Maybe the guy that's played most recently would be the best prepared. Which genius came up with that answer in the Ubers? I see Dan behind me putting his arm in the air. Oh, Dave. Okay. All right. All right. It was as simple as that. Sammy's going in tomorrow. It was going to be. They were both going to play one, and that's how we decided. I made the call on most recent active goaltender, so that's how we did it.
The Hamilton goal starts with Hill bringing the puck around. You mentioned the other day that when he's playing well, you notice he's active playing. As a coach, is there anything you can do schematically to get your goalie playing the puck more, or do you want him playing the puck more?
Well, that depends on his ability and his willingness, right? Like, it's hard to get a goalie to do something he doesn't want to do and outside of stopping the puck, right? That's something you have to work on and can work on. I mean, as I'm going way back and probably giving you two, but when I was a young player, Eddie Belfour was a rookie in Saginaw, Chicago's minor league system, and he was terrible at it. But he idolized Ron Hextall, and he worked at it every day, and he became one of the elite puck handlers in the league. And it wasn't by accident. He worked on it. So that's why I believe most goalies, if you put some time into it and willingness to want to get better, you could probably improve. You should be able to improve in that area. What your ceiling is, I don't know. But at the end of the day, Hilly is pretty good at it, and he can play. He can make those indirect plays too. And what do I mean by that? He'll stop the puck behind that, go right up to the left winger, not always push it to the D. Has the ability and composure and the strength to make that pass if teams are overplaying or more aggressive. And I think that can really make your breakouts dangerous and much more efficient. Binnington in St. Louis is very good at that. Brodeur was a guy all the time. So you had to be less aggressive on the D, so the D have more time, and now that's the advantage you get with a good puck handler. So the other night, it was a simple stop, over, rim, we're gone, 3-on-2, and ends up being a 4-on-2 because Hanny outskates their guys. So he's able to activate because he doesn't have to wait around to see what Hilly does. So yes, leads directly to a goal, and we would like to see. I think I said that the other day. When Hilly's playing his best, he seems to be good and efficient getting out pucks and wanting to get out on them. And sometimes it depends on fatigue too for goalies, right? If you're in your end the whole time, they need to rest a little. If you're playing a good game in front of them, they have a little more energy to do that.
Is that something, like Binnington is the example you gave, is that something you talk about with the team before a game against a goalie like that? Is when
Yes. Decord is one. He goes right up, so we have to change a little bit our Binnington. We have to, on his forehand side, so our right winger, just let's say if you're in your normal position, would have to be a little less aggressive. I'd rather give up the play to the D below the goal line than one that traps two guys. So that's what it does for you. It gives the play to the D a little more time because now you got to stop and then go at them. And forwards don't want to do that. They want to keep their motion. So they don't always love that part of the game, but that's something you have to game plan for if goalies can do that.
What are the challenges, and you've done this a lot, of coaching a team that's in the mid-700s in points percentage? Because when you're winning a lot like that, sometimes the details can slip, but how do you keep the team sharp?
Well, I think some of it is video review. There has to be, not everything goes well. And I think talking to the guys honestly about that. We know we didn't play our best game yesterday. We're finding ways to win, so you can't be too critical because that's the end. That's what you want at the end of the day is wins. And but you can talk to them, hey, this is where we're we're getting exposed. So we will have to clean this up or sooner or later. And we talked early in the year too. I think we were going better. It's like we're scoring 6 and 8 goals. It's not going to happen all year, right? At home we were scoring like everything seemed to be going in. So we got to be prepared. So when they're not going in, we can still win the 3-2 games at home. And I think we've been able to do that. So that's I think the team just being receptive to reality. To be honest with you. So usually you have to have an older group to do that because they've been through it. Younger guys would be like, well, no, geez, I was in university here or junior here and we were a wagon team, and it doesn't work like that here. So I think there's just a little bit of honest communication with that. And then practicing today, right? We get in late at 1:30 in the morning. We've been off, so let's go have a good, crisp practice and work at it. Now, our guys have been great with that. Great. Like, today's one of those days you think they might be dragging a bit. And I thought it was a great energy practice. So good for the guys for putting the work in. That's part of how you stay on these roles is you don't, you go to work on the days off and work on things you need to. And I thought part of today's was about our rush coverage that we want to keep improving on. So that's where it lands for me is, I'll say this, Gary, too. There's an old coach, him in Ottawa, Brian Kilray. He used to want the guys at the rink when they were winning a lot, all the time. You'd think it'd be the opposite, right? Oh, let's give them days off. They're winning. And when you're losing, not playing well, they'd want you to get the hell away and refresh. And it's something I've always sort of kept in the back of my mind. And I think when players are going well, they like being around each other. You can usually get more out of them, too, in practice. Then when it's not going well, you got to be real careful what you're asking for to keep their spirits up. So that's a little bit of the trade-off of winning and losing and off days versus working.
Bruce, you used the phrase last night, pick your spots. Seemed like the second mission. How do you gauge when Dave got it and when you need to get there?
Dave, to be honest, that's just something I think has come naturally and just a gut instinct. I don't know how else to say it. There's just some days that you look at your team, you know your team, you read your team. Okay, they need to hear something right now. Direct messaging. Other days it's, hey, we're good. They need reinforcing of what we're doing well and we're going to turn the corner. And other days they need information. You could be playing pretty well, not be ahead in the score sheet. Okay, we just got to adjust this, fellas. And then, so I think there's 3 areas you usually think as coaches when you go in for your 2-3 minutes. And that's something you just got to get a feel for.
Over the course of a long season, is it a fine line, though, of picking those spots?
Well, you can't be one-all. I don't think you can go in and give them information every, because sooner or later, like, where's the intensity, right? Like, where's the passion? And I think they know that and some days they're probably like, oh, here goes Butch again because he's passionate. And then, like, off we go. And I think they realize, okay, we need to get going. And that's the message they pick up. There could be a lot of the Charlie Brown teacher, what goes in their head, but they do realize, hey, he's coming at us. We need to get going. And it's usually compete level. I mean, it's not rocket science. When teams dominate another team, it's usually compete level isn't there from one side. Obviously, there's adjustments in game you have to do periodically, but it's usually compete level. Who's winning the slot battle? Who's winning the board battles? Are you playing through people? Are you easy to play against because you're circling all over the ice? Those are usually the messages. And as I said, I think we have a very receptive group when it comes to that. You can't go in there 82 times a year between every period and be that guy. I think everybody knows that, but there are times that you just got to raise that level of your game. And especially when we have a good team. We've had a good team here for years. So most good teams, if they're competing, are going to get good results because they got good players. It's kind of that simple to me. They're skating, but not going to play tomorrow. So we'll keep them as day to day, and hopefully they turn the corner soon and get out with us.